If something is meant for you, if it is yours, if it is meant to be yours, it will not go anywhere. If God has brought something into your life and it's meant to be, you're not going to lose that. It doesn't matter what it is. If God has brought it to you, it is yours. And by the same token, if you are praying for something and you haven't received it yet, God is getting it prepared for you. He's preparing you for it. That you are praying for, if it is meant to be and it is from God, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter what obstacles come in your way. If God has that for you, it's yours. And let's go on the other side of this. If something is not meant for you, if it's going to hurt you, and it leaves, that means it's not yours. It was not meant for you. And if God removes it or it leaves, that means that it was not good for you. It was going to hurt you. And I know it's hard, but when that happens, you need to try to, after God expects us to grieve when we lose anything. But it's also so important to remember to thank God because He took something that was going to harm you out of your life. And He knows we're going to be sad. So, cry to God. Pray for God to give you comfort and peace while you're waiting for what He has for you. Because if He's taken something from you, or that something that you're praying for is not from you, He's going to replace it. He's going to replace it with something that is so magnificent and so wonderful that we couldn't even begin to imagine what it is. Whether it is a relationship or a job or a home, whatever it is that we want, if it's for us, God's going to make sure we keep it. And I know one of the hardest things to do is to let go of something that's not meant for you, especially like a relationship. If something is causing you harm, you believe that relationship is for you. But if God knows it's going to hurt you and He takes it away from you, He's going to replace it with a wonderful relationship. And when you're in this situation, it's hard to be thankful. It is hard to think, oh, well, so that one's gone. I'm just waiting on the next one. I know it's hard to do that. But we have to trust God and have faith because God knows exactly what's right for us. Exactly. And one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made is trying to do things myself or trying to pray for something that is not for me. And if God, He's not going to hurt us. It's Romans 8:28. All things work for the good of those that love the Lord. And He does not want to give us anything that's going to harm us. And that means overriding our prayers that we think we need. And when you're in that waiting season, another thing I've been so guilty of doing is not waiting on God and thinking, okay, well, if He's not going to work on this, maybe He's too busy with other things. I'm going to go ahead and do this myself. I know I want this, and it seems really nice and really good. I think it's good for me. I'm going to go try to pursue it. That's where we mess up. And that's also when we try to take things on ourselves, that's also what could be hindering our blessing, our true blessing that God has for us. Is when we think, oh, we know better. Who knows better than us what's right for us. When we do that, we could be postponing the blessing that God has because we don't want to wait. We're too impatient. Or because what we think we see, Satan's got it dressed up all beautiful and it looks so attractive and we want it. And then what's on the inside of that is going to ruin us. So we won't. Even deep down, we may not realize it, but we want what God has for us because it's good for us. We're going to love it. It's going to fulfill us and bring us joy and happiness and peace. It's not going to cause all kinds of chaos and anxiety and fear, and it'll destroy us. If it's not from God, it'll destroy us. And we need to try to keep that in mind. And I say we because it's me too. I don't single anybody out. It's me. And if you're in that season of waiting for something that you're praying for, don't make the mistake of trying to rush God's blessing and go after something yourself. Because the reason you're waiting is because God is preparing. That preparation period is just as important as the receiving of the blessing. God is preparing your blessing for you. He's got to get it ready. It's perfect. It's got to be perfect for you. Then at the same time, He's got to make sure you're ready. If you're waiting, it's because He's getting all these bad things out of your life that you've got to let go. You've got to be willing to let Him go. So see, we get in our own way. It's not God that is postponing and not wanting to give us the blessing. We, most of the time, are our own worst enemies because we put all these bad things in our lives that God has to remove. Because if He brought us that blessing in the middle of our chaotic lives and He tries to bring the good on top of the bad, the bad that's in our lives could destroy that good blessing. So God's going to take all that out. And when we are in that season of waiting, we've got to trust God. We have to. We have to make ourselves. It's not easy, especially when you're having to say no to something that you thought was good for you. But just know, if it is meant for you, if it is the good thing God has for you, it's not going to go anywhere. No matter how long it takes you to get it, it's not going anywhere. That is yours. And then if you have something that you just love, if it is from God, if it is your blessing from God, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to leave you. So we've got to keep that in mind. We have to. And trust God, because He knows exactly what to bring us and when.